Hi, this is Delia. Thanks for clicking on. Something that's been coming up quite a bit in the past week in particular, but it's never very far from the surface. And it's fraught with a lot of emotions and misunderstandings, well, not especially, but including in spiritualist communities. The topic of victim and victimhood and victim energy and victim blaming. Um, it's all kind of just a whole big knot of a bunch of stuff, including misinformation or gaslight information to make the victim feel crazy, um, projections, judgments, shame, blame, guilt. It's all kind of just gnarled up in there together. And it helps if you understand a couple of things. One in particular that just I just don't see enough being shared about this. Um, we have our body personality point of view and experiences and emotions and conclusions, decisions, assumptions. And we have our higher self, um, which is part of the infinite all that is, that has never left. The uh, Whatever that is that bodies don't travel in. Bodies travel in time and space, physical, on the physical planet. Consciousness can be all kinds of places. Consciousness is awareness of everything and judging nothing. And your infinite self is where you come from. Your infinite self is who created your body uh, and chose this lifetime and these adventures. Um, and a lot of times, body has a lot of grievances. If if you know if you're so great, then why did these things happen? Body has a lot of legitimate grievances against spirit as it's reconciling with what does it mean to be a spirit with body. Um, Spirit has a really different perspective, has a really different point of view. Spirit does not live in a body. It's not restricted to a body, and it's not restricted to physical laws of nature because it's not a physical thing. It's more of an energy. So it has different rules. There are different guidelines for your infinite self. And that difference between the the nature of having a body and living in the 3D world, living in the physical world, you don't need to charge it with what dimension. It's a very, from the body's point of view, it seems complicated. Bodies want to, especially the analyzer really wants to understand things. And so it says things like, well, if I'm a spirit in a body, then why don't I have what I want? Why don't I create what I want all the time? Why do these bad things happen? Why do I need help? Um, and that's because body lives in the physical world and spirit lives in a different one, has a different agenda, and it has a different understanding of the same things. So the more body and spirit can come together, the better. Once, once you're in that place where you're constantly perceiving the physical world through the eyes of your infinite self. Well, maybe not constantly, because there would be no joy in being in a physical body. We came here on purpose. And we came here at this time on purpose, much to body's chagrin sometimes. But the more the two are working together, the more the two are connecting in the fourth chakra, where s- spirit, non corporeal energy, self is designed to meet and communicate and commune with the essence of the body personality. Then the body is not so nervous. The nervous system can calm down because the grown up is home, the one that you can always rely on. It's kind of like a relationship that most people have never had. Something that you can rely on in every circumstance, and it can never be abandoned by. That's your higher self. The way we have gaps in our connection with our infinite self is through the constructs and the architecture of the language of what is the nature of reality on life on the planet at this time. All of that gets in the way of your being able to really just experience your highest self being with and in your body and navigating your life through cooperating with your true nature, which is your infinite self that expresses itself through your body personality. Once you have cleared out everybody else's projections and instructions and judgments, it's a process. But, you know, it's also like the fun part of why we came here. Uh, Believe me, I know that when you're in it, it does not have anything to do with fun. But it is a kind of alchemy that we get to play with here. It's not so much turning metal into gold or tin into gold, but it is taking um, little piles of poop and turning them into an extraordinary garden that is generative and a joy to be in and with. To go from just being totally defeated by something and feeling shattered, and then looking back later, maybe years later, looking back and realizing that experience, my gosh, look at this incredible life that I have, all because I got derailed. And you can have a tremendous amount of gratitude for it. But don't rush there. You'll get there naturally. You don't have to manipulate yourself like we're required to do in so many areas of regular life. You can trust the process, and you can allow things to take the time that they take. So the thing about judgment, well, kind of one and the same. The thing about victim is that if someone drives over your foot, you're just standing there waiting for the bus, and someone drives across your foot. If you're on the sidewalk and you're not in the street and you're not provoking them, and then you're a victim of an accident. Something just happened, right? Um, if you're a child and you get abused, you're a victim of being abused. If you are in a relationship with someone who's gaslighting you, you're a victim of that. So it isn't that there is no action reaction, there's no action victimhood. It's not that you're not being ignored or abused or whatever the thing is. That's not when people are talking about becoming more aware about your victimhood, it's not about that. It's about what you make of it. And because we live in an out of balance culture, society, world these days, and that's what we grew up in, it's really unfair to expect yourself to have a clear and um, easy to navigate notion of your owies and victimhood. It's not fair because there's so little example of it, and there's so little teaching about it, there's so little conversation about it. And as you turn within, as you develop a relationship with your higher self, as you discover new ways to be on your side, as you discover new depths of commitment to being on your side, to standing by you, to being your own best friend in pragmatic ways, in real time. The more you do all those things, the more your comprehension, your definitions, your understanding of the thing that happened change. It changes and creates more space. You have a better understanding. All kinds of things cascade in your system and recalibrate. And it's not because you thought your way there. The mind does come along. Thinking does play a part, but not the way we're trained in society. The surest way to support yourself in healing, especially around things that there is a victim aspect to, is to be on your side and to be aware instead of thinking, to be aware instead of being full of your mind. The analyzer is like the flathead screwdriver. It's incredibly useful for the things that it's useful for. It does you no good for something that requires an Allen wrench or sometimes a Phillips head. But we've been trained to always use the flathead, and if the problem doesn't fit the flathead, then the problem is the problem. It's really when you energetically start to break these things down, you really get to see how kooky it all is and contradictory. And understanding where you need to feel like the victim because you've never been heard. This is a really sensitive, tender aspect, is if you've never been heard, especially about that thing, then keeping that victim energy running is a way to remind yourself, never forget, right? Never forget, never surrender. I'm never going to do that again, which is the survival instinct, which is a very good instinct. It's overplayed, it's overtrained, it's overused because of the way our culture is set up. And it's news to discover that you can stand down, and then it's a whole other revelation to start to stand down, because it's so much easier to ramp up than it is to stand down. So much more challenging to stand down because you're challenging your security. You've been stealing up, you've been having your anger and um, victimhood and righteousness up to save your life. And so learning that you can be safe without those things is eye opening. It is not a mental exercise, it is very much a full body awareness exercise. And it is totally doable. Um, it may not be the most, it may not be the simplest thing you've ever done, but it is doable. So some people have victimhood as their survival strategy for this lifetime. And they were they they got that from the environment they started in. It was a brilliant strategy, it was a brilliant deduction. And then at some point in your life you realize that that strategy is the thing that is undoing you. It's keeping you from your power. It's keeping you from moving on. But it is totally doing everything that it's doing, holding you back, keeping you small, for the purpose of keeping you safe. It's doing everything in its power for you, to benefit you, to nurture you, to love you. And once you understand that all of these things that are painful or tricky or triggering or being triggered, once you understand that they're all conspiring for your benefit, on your behalf, not in a public social way, but in your interior framework, how you live within your mind and body and emotions on a daily basis. It is remarkable how much you can soften and at the same time become more clear and even more empowered. So be curious about your relationship with victimhood and how do you live with that? How does it show up for you? Um, what has it helped you with? Because I guarantee you it's kept you alive, it's helped you quite a bit. And then be curious about how much does it help you now? And acknowledge that it is a brilliant strategy that you came up with when you were younger and that society wants you to keep because it keeps you off kilter and out of your power. And without making yourself wrong in any way for whatever your relationship with victim is, just be curious if you're happy with it. Is it serving you? Is it giving you a life where you feel safe and loved and nurtured and nourished and like you can do anything? And if you don't feel those ways, it's okay. You live in this culture. Very few people do. And it's set up in this culture that it is an act of rebellion practically to decide to live in that kind of ease and power and softness and radiance and thriving for yourself. It's just a really, it's like not on the regular menu of choices. But some of us are just born calibrated to sovereignty and freedom, even if it doesn't make any sense, even if we love the people who are holding us back and we don't want to see that, even if we don't understand how we're making ourselves crazy, but we know that we are. Some of us are just calibrated to, I've got to get free, and there's more possible than what I'm seeing or hearing. And I don't care what it takes, I'm going to do it, right? This is how some people are calibrated, and it's divine. It's not in a religious way, but in an alignment way. It's like this inner magnetic pull of I'm an infinite being with a body. I came here to be free. I didn't come here to be miserable. And I don't know how to do that, but I know I want to do that. And you keep going. So I hope this has helped, and I'd love to hear any questions or comments below. So onward. Thanks for listening.